Welcome to the Curiosity Chamber.
There we go. Okay, now we can talk. Hello, Kim.
Hi.
Kim Warbritton, is that correct? Is that how you
Yes.
say it?
Yes.
That's how fresh of a friendship this is that I don't even know how to pronounce your name. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on here. It's nice to unwind and just talk one on one with someone. Like for me, it was a pretty stressful day, and just I enjoy these moments when it's like everything else is off, technology is off, and now I'm talking to you. I know nothing about you. I know that you wrote a book, and we're gonna talk about
Yes.
that.
Okay.
But we're gonna get to know each other.
Okay. I I
Yeah,
and I look forward to it. It's great to
yeah,
meet you. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
of course. Yeah. So first of all, how was your day? Let's start there. How was your day?
My day has been outstanding.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, I have absolutely no complaints at all.
You sound like a positive person. You sound happy.
I am happy. I am happy.
Have you always been happy? Or
No. No,
that's the
I
thing about
haven't.
it.
Uh-uh.
Some sometimes you have to go through the shadows to really know what happiness is. So,
Yeah, that's
right?
yes, that's what the next book is about actually. So,
No kidding.
yes. Yep.
Perfect. We have a mutual friend, and his name is Stephen Martin. I'm not sure if you are really friends with him or just an accomplice or how you guys know each other, but
He
he told you about my podcast.
yes, so he actually edited I actually wrote this book. It's called The Bridge. We Are All One in Love. I started writing it very end of September. 3 months later, I finished it on Christmas Day.
Mm.
3 months later, on March the 29th, which was Good Friday,
Hmm.
I got the offer letter from, Steve. He wanted to edit and publish my book,
Wow.
and then he referred me to you.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
That's
Yes.
awesome. Was this your first book?
It's my very first book,
Oh my
yes.
god. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast and
Yes.
discussing it with me. This is amazing. Good for you.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, Steven he's a wonderful character. He's very nice. He's very nice. He's very
Very.
passionate about what he does.
Yes, and what I loved about his editing, and if anybody's writing a spiritual book, that's his thing.
Mhm.
What I loved about it is that he cleaned it up, he made it flow, but he didn't remove me out of my book.
Oh, beautiful. Does that
And,
happen quite often?
I mean, I've heard people say that, they've gotten their book edited to be very careful because they'll go in and they'll try to change things so much that it didn't even sound like their book. So that was
Right.
a concern of mine because it's a very personal
Yeah.
book, and so I was very happy with the way he did it.
That's good. Expertise. Yeah. It's a
Yes.
it's a personal thing. I mean, it's your life. Joe Rogan actually was talking about this. He was going to write a book himself and he gave it to for someone to edit it, and the guy like took out everything about like that was
Yeah.
personal to his life. He's like, "This is okay. So what you just did, this isn't even about me anymore. So
Right.
what's the point of this? If I'm
Right.
gonna
Yeah.
write a book, I'm just gonna do it and release it myself, I
Right.
guess."
Right. You might as well just have AI do it for you, right?
For sure. Yeah, no kidding. Well, geez. All right, Kim. So the bridge, we are all one love. And now that sounds cliche. It sounds hippy dippy, but I believe that. I'm right with you
Yes.
on that.
Yes.
I
Yes.
believe
So,
it. So yeah, let's talk about this. What got you to write this book? What's it all about?
okay, well, I co-wrote this book with the archangels. Archangel Gabriel and Archangel Sandalphon are actually the two archangels that assisted me. You can actually tell the parts that I channeled, and you can tell the parts that I wrote myself.
So I'm a noob at this. So I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna ask you a lot of questions on the
Please
way.
do.
Okay.
Please.
So when you say archangels, can you go into just a little bit of detail about that?
So this is I'm going to give you the Archangels for Dummies.
Okay,
That would be a
perfect.
great
Yeah,
book, actually.
that's your third book. That's amazing.
And
Come back on the podcast.
that's right, that's right. So basically, they're just like okay, they say there's no hierarchy, with them, but they're just like the state troopers of the angelic realm. So,
That's a good way to put it.
you've got your town cop, and then you've got your county deputy, but the state trooper is the one that like runs the state,
Mhm,
for
mhm.
and that they are the state trooper of the angelic realm. So they're the ones that have names that are recognized. They're the big dogs.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. So they were helping you, right, in some of the
Yes.
passages.
Yeah, yeah, and quite a bit, yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So when this takes place, are you meditating? Are you in front of a computer writing? Are you handwriting? What's the process when this happens?
Well, okay, so I was journaling. I knew since I was a child I was going to write a book. I just didn't know what it was gonna be. And a little history. I did grow up as a Assembly of God. I went to an Assembly of God church, which is pretty Pentecostal. So that's how I was raised, and I was raised that if you didn't believe in Jesus and didn't believe that he died on the cross, that you were
Mm,
going to hell.
okay.
And so all those people that didn't believe it, except for the Jews, were all going to hell. So this is what I was raised believing. And so but when I was a child, I knew I had the abilities of seeing. I could see orbs, light orbs. I could feel people's energy very intensely. But I was
Talk
told
about
that
that for
those
a split second. When you can feel people's energies, what type of things were you sensing? Like, can you sense that someone was evil or wanted to do harm or just like a
yes,
bad aura around it?
yes, I could always feel the
Uh-huh.
negative aspects
Yeah.
more than anything. I could feel like sometimes my hair would stand up on the back of my neck.
Ooh.
I just had this ability of being able to feel when somebody was in emotional pain or depressed. Um, but because of and it's so funny because Pentecostal is pretty much like Christian mysticism in their beliefs,
Okay.
but 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 it was evil to go to the other side,
Oh boy.
in the way I was raised. So because I believed it was evil, I suppressed it. Um, Up until maybe about 2018, and then I realized, that
Oh wow, that's
uh,
fairly recent.
yes, yes, and then I realized and then they started just like talking to me, and I started dead loved ones, of other people. It's all in the book, but I would just pull up to somebody's house, and this woman's mom started talking to me, and I went in the house and I said, "Your mom's here." My neighbor across the hall, my old apartment complex, her grandma was there, and I looked at her, and I didn't know her very well. I said, "Did you have somebody that died a couple years ago by the name of Jane?" And she said, "Yeah, my grandma died 2 years ago of COVID, and her name is Jane." And her grandma was there. So back in 2018, I just started realizing that I still had it.
So there's no instruction manual for the life that you're living like that, right? So like
No.
no one is telling you, like guiding you how to live with that. So were you frightened? Like what kind of emotions were you going through when this type of thing would happen?
Well,
That's got to be hard.
yeah, as an adult, when I was a child, I think because I it's who I was when I was a child, and until I thought it was evil, I was fine with it. I just felt like it was a normal, natural thing. And then when I realized I was probably about 8 or 9 years old when I was like, I need to. I probably shouldn't tell anybody what I'm thinking, feeling, seeing because it's evil. and I didn't wanna be considered evil.
That's the
S
hardest thing for a little child to keep
Yeah.
something suppressed like that. You're supposed
Yeah.
to be able to have your family to lean on, you know? Like, you're
Yeah.
supposed to be able to trust your family with whatever you wanna say.
Right. And, it's I mean, I my parents my dad just passed away in September, but my mom is just she's very open.
Mhm.
I think it was just more of a sense of how I felt,
Yeah.
that I'd better hide it. I didn't want,
Right.
I just didn't I guess I was just fearful of it,
Well,
but
yeah, that's like when kids get bullied at school too, and it's like, I don't even wanna bring this up to my parents,
yeah,
for
yeah.
whatever reason.
Exactly, exactly, and that's exactly the way it was. So then I just let it go. But then I realized that, all this stuff was coming back up, and, it was revisiting me, and I actually started reading books like Sonia Choquette. She is a psychic, and so I started actually just diving into, books written by psychics, and, it just kind of verified and validated me, and and it helped me get over that hump of, "This is okay, it's not bad."
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. So, back to writing the book, you had archangels, they were helping you write this book. So, I guess what I wanna know is, like, what is the process of, like, what did you wanna get out?
Well, okay, so it pretty much started where I know, spirit or source or God, whatever you choose to call your higher power, sent me on my daughter had come out as gay, okay? And that really I started going, okay, the church I go to tells me I'm not supposed to accept gay people. And I had a real hard time with that.
Yeah, you're at a
S-
crossroad now.
Yeah, so um and that's my child, and
Uh-huh.
I'm going to stand behind my child. Well, then it just really caused me to start looking into it, and then I realized that Jesus loves everybody, and it does that things like that don't matter. And so then I just started like really began meditating and everything. Well, I got sent on this journey, and it was a 3-year journey. I had already read the Bible, but I read the Bhagavad Gita. I read the Tao Te Ching, the Emerald Tablets, which is the oldest
Right.
text there
Yes,
is,
yes.
the Kybalion. And then I started like learning about. I love Buddhism. I started learning about Hinduism, and
You were on a mission, lady.
well, God was on a mission.
For
God
you?
wanted me to learn all of this, and I didn't realize why. I just was insatiable. And all that's in my book because my very past life that I had before this life, I know what I did. And that's in the book. And it goes hand in hand with what I am now doing in this life, which is kind of crazy. But so so when I started writing, I had my Kundalini awakening actually just in September of 2023. It was the night of the new moon. And then 2 weeks later, I started writing this book at the end of September. And I mean, just even I went back and I read this book when I had gotten it back from, Steve, and I was like, "I have changed so much even since I wrote this book that the next book is like the, step up."
That's
So
kinda cool to see, like, you actually have, like, something documented,
yeah, yeah,
right?
it's
To
crazy.
look back at
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So what this book does is it basically tells people, okay, so the archangels helped me write it, and they kept saying arc when I was talking about what are we going to name this book? And they kept saying arc. Well, I was like arc, arch, and then I was on a walk, and I came up to a bridge, and I go, "Do y'all mean bridge?"
Boom.
And
Wow. Yeah.
that's yeah, so the bridge part of it is that I build a bridge from my heart to your heart. Um, and so what I realized is that in every faith that I had studied, where the man side of how a religion is built is different than what the core of a religion is. So the core of every religion that there is that I found was love.
Yes.
And one of those things that is actually a part of that love is every single religion has a golden rule or something like that. And that's being respectful of others, which is a form of love. So I started connecting all of these dots on religion and realized that we are all the same. We're all one. What happened is all across the world, God set teachers out in each area. And these teachers are the ascended masters. So we're talking about Yeshua, who's Jesus, Buddha, Krishna. And you just go through, Black Elk for the Native Americans. And you just go through, Allah and all the different religions, what their base is. And they're all the same. They're just like, but it's just the man-made side of it, the man-made part of the things that are added to it that takes away from that core.
That was going to be a question, is just how did it become some is so destructive. There's so much chaos in some religion. And that's the aspect that I'm bothered by.
Yes.
So you say that it's because of it's not what it's essentially supposed to be. It's the man-made stuff that is driving it to conflict.
Yes. Well, because it's man who creates conflict. There's no conflict in nature. Nature is just nature. There's no conflict between animals. Animals are just animals. The conflict that is in the human aspect is created because of human and because of ego. I hate using that word, but we have to have ego in
Why do
order
you hate
to
using that
protect
word?
ourselves. Yeah, because it makes ego sound like it's a bad thing, and we have to have some sort of ego in order to protect ourselves. But it's the egoic tendencies, the human nature, the carnal nature of people, the pride, the jealousy, the inflexibility, things like that, that have just spread like a cancer, and that has caused the dissension. And one thing that I do talk about is not just the religious aspect of it. It is also, like, if Republicans and Democrats could actually just realize that they may have different views because they've got these labels, but they've got different views, but the base of what they believe, the base of who they are, is their love of country. So they're the same at that core.
Yeah. Yeah, I bring that up all the time on this podcast. I say this is the analogy I like to use is if I live in Chicago, if it is negative 15 degrees outside and someone's car breaks down and I have heat and I have a tire and I can help this person, I'm not asking if they're a Democrat or a Republican. I am trying to help them to get to safety as a human being. I don't give a
Damn
shit
right.
what your sign is. I don't care,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So
Yes.
yeah, when you're met with the like the blistering cold like that, that
Yeah,
will you won't think anything else besides like
exactly.
let's get to safety.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and that is a beautiful analogy. That's like a perfect analogy for that. But and then the lifestyles, and people with different lifestyles, and then people would judge because of the way somebody looked or the way they were dressed, or, oh my god, they've got green hair, or, and it's getting beyond all of that, to just really focus on a person's soul and getting to know the soul inside that body. And so many of us, we don't get to know because of race. We don't get to know people because we're taught there's that barrier. And really, the only barrier and the only walls that we have up are the ones that are in our minds.
Unfortunately, I think it's even harder now to get across with all the social media. Like, people can put up so many walls and
Yes.
use filters on what they look like,
Yeah.
and, they can just fake a profile to make it seem like they're something they're not.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
are you supposed to get into someone's soul when the person doesn't even know their soul?
Right. You are absolutely correct. You're in and so that is the reason why we are in a shift, and I'm sure you've heard this, that we're in a collective shift of people going from being asleep to
Yeah.
being awake. And it started at the eclipses that happened in September, October.
Mhm.
That's when this major shift, we're in the age of Aquarius now, and and Pluto in Aquarius, and all of this other crazy stuff that's been happening, and then this or this eclipse that we just had. And
Yeah.
we're in this shift of consciousness, and more people are waking up to the truth. And people say, well, what's the truth? And I'm like, I my response to people when they say, "What is the truth?" I don't know. What is your truth? What 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 do you believe in if man had not taught you what to believe in? What do you intuitively believe in? I was taught there was no such thing as incarnate reincarnation. Well, shit there is, because I have seen I have seen it. I know what my past lives are. I know I had to heal. I had a life review of this life, and I had a life review of past lives. I've met somebody at a past life regression who was in a past life with me. Um it- and so there's things that I was taught that, as I've gone through this process this last 10 years, um that I've realized that those aren't my truth, that what I'm living now is my truth. And that's the reason why I was able to write this book.
Wow. Yeah, you said a lot of powerful things there. Um,
Okay.
yeah, for me, I'm like right now. I was telling you before we started recording that, yeah, you caught me at a weird time. Just like right now, I'm very very spiritually lost or religiously lost right now, and it's like on any given day, like I used to really think that like when this life is over, it would make sense that there is a reincarnation. I
Hmm.
really felt that. I felt that. But then some days, I don't know what does it to me. Some days I feel like when life is over, then it's just like you're gonna be in an empty void.
Hmm.
It's just. But I'm trying really hard to figure it out. And I think maybe that's part of life is you have this entire lifetime.
Yeah.
Granted, if it doesn't get cut short, which unfortunately sometimes it does, but if you're able to live, say 80s, 90s, you have all that time to figure it out and live
Yeah.
your experience. And I'm thinking maybe those experiences will start to solve the problem. And by the time you're ready to go, you'll have an answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully.
Hopefully. Right.
Hopefully. Yeah.
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 Um, you know, some of what you're going through is probably very, very normal. I went through the same thing, the same questioning. I do know that from having the connection with archangels that I have, and been able to ask them questions and talk to them, and um, the divine knowledge that has been bestowed upon me, and the wisdom that I have gained through all of this, is that we have lived many, many, many lives. And the reason being is it takes it, you could be here, this could be your 200,000th time
Yeah.
reincarnated, not necessarily on this planet. You could have been reincarnated on another planet somewhere, but we're given those opportunities to come back, it's like that the first time you're on the planet, you're in that infant mind. But every time you come back, you bring something with you from that life. So as we've progressed over these billions of years and we're in this lifetime that we're in now, you have all of those experiences and all of that growth from all those past lives that at some point in one life that the life that you're going to gain enlightenment, that you are going to be awake and gain enlightenment. And this, I'm hoping this is my past life, my last life on this, where I ascend, and then I work in the angelic realms, and that's a beautiful thing. But this, it's not done, and it's not one and done. I mean, you keep coming back, and the archangels did verify that with me.
Yeah, you're able to tell who's brand new at Earth, like, this is their first time. Like, if you're on a highway and you see someone driving like a maniac, it's probably their first time,
Yeah.
probably their first experience, you know?
Yeah, exactly,
I've
exactly.
often thought about that though too, what you just said is, like, when you've have done what you're supposed to done, maybe it's like your millionth time at this experience, and say you're like 43 and all of a sudden, like, you did something, you hit your goal and you just drop dead,
Yeah, there you
right?
go. Yeah,
That could happen, huh? Like,
yeah,
it's
why
it's
not?
weird because the musicians, like, some of these musicians who are so powerful, like Jimi Hendrix,
Yeah,
all so young. I think there's like a crazy age where it's all like, I think it's 27 or something. There's like multiple mega star musicians who all die at the same age.
yeah, yeah. And numerology, if you
Yeah.
die at the age of 27, that's number 10, if you add that up.
Oh my god.
I I'm just saying.
Deeper down the rabbit hole we go.
I can go down all kinds of rabbit holes.
Oh, is that right?
I love it.
Do you have a favorite rabbit hole?
Yeah, I just love a rabbit hole. I love it when somebody says something and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Okay, let me see what I can find on this."
Wee.
Exactly, exactly. I'm like Alice in Wonderland.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Boy. So when you say God, what comes to your mind? Because I heard you say God and you said source or whatever you call it. I'm just curious to what it means to you.
Well, I usually say spirit or I say source.
Yeah,
I think God is one of those words that has been used and abused, and it doesn't
for
have
sure.
the meaning that it used to. But if you talk to a Christian and you call God source or spirit, they get bent out of shape.
Right.
Um, and that's okay. That's their belief. But I'm here to tell you that, and this is what spirit had said to me, is I don't care what you call me, just call me.
Mm. How often do you meditate?
Every day,
And
multiple
what is?
times a day.
Can you take me through that? What does that look like?
Well, I've just gotten to the point now where I literally can just sit on the couch and start talking
Yeah.
to my angels, and and then I literally can go into like channeling sessions. It's just gotten so easy. What what advice I can give, and I have a chapter on meditation in the book, because meditation is a key. It is absolutely a key to get you through so many doors in this uh, time of evolution for you. But um, when you meditate, and a lot of people, they lay there and they're like, okay, I can't turn my brain off. I keep on thinking. Um, Yada yada yada. Okay, what am I supposed to do with my hands? And all these things, and really, what the best thing to do is if you just start breathing and you breathe through your nose so deeply that you can feel your brain get cold. That's all I can tell you is how it feels. And you just do that, and then you just blow out, and so you just do that 10 times, and it kinda just it makes you think about the breathing. But there's something about that cold air that hits the pineal gland. My 3rd eye opens now, but there's just something about that breathing. And then what you start if you focus on your heart chakra, you focus on that heart space, and you just think about just all of the love that is surrounding you at that moment. Not the home, not the tangible things, but the love of spirit and the love of the angelic realm. And you think about how much love there is, it makes your heart space, it's like the Grinch, when his heart got bigger and bigger and bigger and it came out of his
Yeah.
chest.
Uh-huh.
That's what it feels like. It's so warm, and it feels like, when I had my kundalini, um, that's how I realized that's the way you get into this deep meditative state, is just by feeling love and gratitude. And I felt as if when I was having my Kundalini awakening, my body was expanding. It was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I felt like I was in this like gold bubble. And I was in a gold bubble of protection. And I still have that bubble around me. But I expanded, and it was just that heart space was so full. I just kept saying words that were like, just beautiful words. And I was probably in that state for about an hour.
Whoa.
Um, and so now I can just get to the point where I could just sit down and I just feel that love and that gratitude, and I start talking to my angels, and I go into meditation. But meditation can be prayer. Meditation can be driving in your car and just feeling deeply connected to God and having conversation. The,
Yeah, I think that's missing from this world today, a lot of it,
yeah.
you
Oh,
know?
absolutely. There's there's such a sadness in our society, and that sadness is that people just don't wanna love each other anymore. They don't wanna acknowledge each other. They don't eh, everybody's so busy judging
Yeah.
one another that, when Jesus came to this earth, Jesus came to the earth, and this is where I've realized that, like, the Christian way of thinking. I'm a follower of Christ. I love Jesus. He is my teacher. I am a follower of Christ. I do not call myself a Christian.
Mhm.
Um, but Buddha is my teacher, and Krishna is my teacher, and Allah is my teacher. I've just
Well, what
they're all
you're
my
saying there
teachers.
makes sense to me. What you're saying, you're not just like you didn't just pick one and went with it. You're like you've expanded your mind and
Yeah,
you're touching on all of them, which is that makes sense to me so much. Not just my way or the highway, one and done. Ours is right, yours is wrong. Pick a team.
right, right. Well, God put all those teachers all over the world for that purpose, that each area of the world, the people learned who God was. And it was actually man that actually was like, well, you're wrong and I'm right. Well, that's the pride, that's the ego talking.
Yeah, sure is.
And what the archangels want us to know is, if you call on Yeshua, you're calling on all the ascended masters, and they are all there. When you call on one archangel, not one archangel shows up, but they all show up. They're a team. And this is what the archangels want us to know. And they want us to embrace it. The archangels want us to come to them. The archangels want us to ask, um, to if we need something, to go and ask them. They're messengers and they're healers, and that's why they're here, and they're begging us to utilize their powers, because we have the same powers. And like, what I was going to say was, Jesus, when he came to this earth, people say that he came here and he showed us what he could do and he could heal and look what Jesus can do. And I was sitting down, I was meditating with Jesus one day, and Jesus said, "It's not that I was showing you what I can do. I was brought here to show you what you could do. You can heal. You can do all of these things." And that's why Jesus came here, was to teach us what he could do. Buddha came. Buddha was here and taught his people how to be peaceful and loving and kind and quiet and be a
Mm.
good listener.
Mhm.
And if you look at these teachers, they didn't come to show us what they could do. They showed us what we could do.
Have you ever been able to communicate with someone without speaking? Have you ever tried that? Like someone on the same wavelength as you and you were able to communicate with them?
We all can do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
We
going
all
somewhere
can
with
do it.
this. I'm definitely going
Okay,
somewhere
so
with
I'm just gonna say, do you have siblings?
this. Yeah, I have a brother.
Okay. Okay. And y'all know right when to look at each other when somebody says something, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, that is the same thing. It
Yeah.
literally is. Y'all, I like my ex-boyfriend, I could be thinking something and he would say it, or vice versa. It I have friends that we could be in a situation and we just look at each other and we know what each other's thinking.
I'm gonna take it even further than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna Okay. So my brother's best friend, his name is Luke. He listens to the podcast. What's up, Luke? Um We've known each other since forever. He was basically like our third brother. We literally considered him our third brother. He was always over.
Love it.
Yeah, he was adopted from Poland, and yeah, so we just spent all the time together. Uh, Recently, I would say within the last 5 years, we would every annually we would go to Florida, and then we would take a hit of acid or like a hallucinogenic.
Right.
And I'm bringing this up because when you're explaining to me how you meditate, what you're saying is basically what happens when you take a hallucinogenic.
Yes, very
So,
much.
yeah, when and now when I'm talking about communicating with someone without speaking, we're able to me and Luke when we were on the same wavelength because we took the same LSD. I was able to like you get like this shiver in your spine and you feel this euphoric, intense feeling. And I was
Mhm.
able to shoot that into him with him not looking at me, and he would shiver up his back.
Wow.
It was, and we would do it time and time and time again just to make sure it was happening. He would go across the forest, and we were probably like 100 feet away. And I would just start this shiver up my spine. And it would feel so good. And I would channel it to him, and I would look at him and I would see him shiver. And
That's
after
wild.
that moment, I'm like, okay, there is so much more going on than we know.
Yeah.
We are living in such a basic stage of our brains when you're not tapped into something else. If you're just your basic self, I feel like we're missing out on a lot.
Yes.
There's a
Oh,
lot of
we
dullness going
definitely.
around.
Yes, definitely missing out. When you are in the 3D, and if you don't know what it sounds to me like you've been in the 5D. Um, you when you don't know anything but the 3D, your mind can't even comprehend
Mhm.
what the 5D is unless you have some sort of experience like that.
Right, right, and I agree. I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it like moments like that really change the way I see life for the
Yeah.
positive. Just because when I'm telling you like reincarnation, it's moments like that. Like there's so much more to this life than we know,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's like it's It's undeniable. It's
Yeah.
if you find yourself meditating like hard like you do and you're able to like talk to yourself and channel archangels and have those conversations, they're really happening.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah, so your reality and my reality are different than people who've never experienced that. They may see us as crazy,
Right.
right?
Oh, most definitely. And that's one thing that I was like when I was talking to God about this, I was like, "Okay, what are people gonna think about me?" And it was basically like, "Are you gonna do this or not? Because if you're not, I'll find somebody else that will."
Mm.
And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. I never said I wasn't gonna do it. I wanna do this." But what if people come against me and it's like, so what?
Right. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
bigger than them. It's way
yeah.
bigger than them.
It's way bigger. And but I'm here to be a teacher. And I've gone through this wave of um being able to help assist people
Yes.
in this awakening process. So now I'm in the next phase. And so when they're ready to move up to the next phase, I'll be done with that one and on to the next phase. So we're all chosen, we're all called to do this. The only thing is just like you being a podcaster, how many people are called to speak or do what you're doing
Mhm.
that don't? And
Yes.
it's just like this. It's I heard the call on my soul. My higher self said, "Kim, this is why you came to this earth. You
Mhm.
better get on board." And I did. And and here we are.
There
And it's crazy.
there's so many correlations from it's really strange to me from like the way I do it, and I'm sure I can get to a meditative state without psilocybin or LSD, but there's
Mhm.
so many similarities that I'm noticing. And whenever so there's another moment I took another LSD tab, and the thing that was coming to my mind was basically what your book is about is
Yeah.
just love.
Yeah.
Love is the answer. I was in Florida and I'm just staring out over the entire ocean, and the only thing that was coming in my mind was the words just be and love is the answer.
I love
And it
it.
sounds so cliche, but I just kept saying, I'm like, life can be so easy.
Yeah.
Why do we complicate everything?
Yes. Yes.
It was just like this
Absolutely.
wave of like ultra HD vision came over me,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's just wild. I'm glad that these hallucinogenics exist for that
Mhm.
reason. Don't abuse it. If you're looking to take it, like you need to know what you're doing and like
Right.
obey it. Don't
Right.
abuse it. Like
Yeah.
try to have a moment. Don't just use it as like a party drug. It's not. It's
Right.
way more important than that. You know?
Right.
Yeah, I'm trying to find something whenever I take and indulge in that. I'm trying to find something and get some answers. To me,
Yeah.
that's my meditation.
You're right. Right. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of people that do that. There's gurus, like in when they go to India,
Mhm.
they take hallucinogenics. They do things to get them to a point of holy shit,
Exactly.
like
Yeah, the
and
express lane to get there.
absolutely, absolutely. And if that's what you feel like you need to do at that point to get that connection, that is something that's going to help you at some point um get into that connection on your own.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing is too is you take those experiences back with you. So it's not
Yeah,
like once
uh-huh.
the drug is over that it just stays there, it's in this
Yeah.
void. No, you get to take that experience back. I'm sure
Yeah.
that's the same with you because you wrote a book about it. When you
Yeah.
when you communicate with archangels, you're in a meditative state, they're talking to you. You when you snap out of it, you bring that experience back. Now that is yours. to
Right.
share.
Right. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. And there's the book is full of some stories. I went in and I started telling stories about things that have happened to me.
Mhm.
And like when my dad passed away September 1st of this past year.
I'm
And
sorry.
yeah, thank you. And my birthday is August 30th, and it was the night of a blue moon, super moon. It was beautiful. And
Wow.
then the next day, I got the call that my dad um, wasn't going to make it past the weekend. So I left September 1st. Okay. And my oldest daughter my mom and dad live 8 hours from me.
Mhm.
But my daughter lives in Champaign, Illinois, just south of you.
Yeah.
So she was with my mom. She was with my dad that entire week.
Mhm.
And I started driving out there. Well, at 3:38, my heart rate went from, I was sitting, my heart rate jumped up to 120 and I had my Fitbit on. And I looked down and I saw my heart rate was 120. Well, I heard look at the time and it said 3:38. And right when I looked at the time, my stomach felt like it was twisted.
Oh my god.
So 3:43, my daughter called me and she said, Mom, Papa passed away. And I was like, okay. So I called her about a half an hour later because I was about an hour and 15 minutes away from their house. And I called her about a half an hour later and I said, hey, I said, did Papa by chance pass away at 3:38? And she stopped and she said or he quit breathing at 3:37 and his heart stopped at 3:38. So the time of death was 3:38.
Oh my god.
My dad had come to me when he passed away, made my heart
Yeah.
rate go up and twisted my stomach. That was
Yeah.
his way of saying bye to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
So so people can say what they want to say
Wow.
about the other side. I know all too well, like when my dad was in the coma state that last few days that he was alive, he
Mhm.
was communicating with me. That's where the telepathy, he was communicating with me and I could see like what was going on in the room through him. Like I could see my mom, I could see my daughter.
Were you guys close?
My dad and we had a very I love my dad was a good man. We
Mhm.
My dad and I did not get along all the time, but we loved each other unconditionally. We were
Yeah.
both hard-headed. And I had a lot of childhood trauma. He was an alcoholic for the first 12 years of my life. He was very
Right.
controlling. But that moment he came to me in my car, I had such a healing at that moment.
Yeah.
Um, it was incredible, and that actually that moment changed me so much
Mm.
that it opened up the world for me.
Wow.
It opened up the spirit world even more for me. It's crazy.
Thank you for sharing that. I
Yeah.
mean, wow, yeah, that's powerful. And even to go off of just how you said you guys had your differences, but even through the differences, even at the last moment that you were just so like knitly tied
Mhm.
that the last moment he came to share something with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Yep. So
That's powerful.
it was very, very, um, and I had, like one night I had Archangel Michael had come to me. It was the night of the new moon eclipse or new moon in September of 2023, which was just like a couple weeks later after
Mhm.
that. And that's when I had my Kundalini. And then in October was the solar eclipse. And the day of the solar eclipse, I was laying down and I was meditating, and my third eye opened, and Archangel Michael was above me and told me that I would be guided and that everything that I needed and everything I needed to know and where I needed to be, all of that, that he would let me know where I, all of that, as we would go, and that I just needed to trust.
Mhm.
And that's what I've done.
Sometimes you just need to let go,
Yeah, surrender and allow.
surrender. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the hardest part, you think, sometimes?
Yeah. Well,
Surrendering?
yeah, it is because we're so used to being in control or wanting control, and
Yeah.
you hear it all the time, and I can reference the Christian end of it because I've been there.
Mhm.
But they say lay it at the foot of the cross. And then they're like, I laid it at the foot of the cross, but they walk right back and they pick the damn thing back up and they walk away with it. And Spirit is saying, lay it down. Just lay it down and let it go. And what whatever happens with that situation is the way it's supposed to. If somebody loses everything that they have, they lose their house, they lose their car, it's supposed to happen because it's supposed to bring you to a point where it's going to change you. And sometimes it takes those drastic things to change a person.
Right. Right. Like, sometimes if you ask God for strength, you'll notice that you'll be put in these hard situations that almost seem impossible, that you're gonna be stronger after you get out of it.
Look, I'm going to tell you right now, you ask for God for strength, you're stupid. Because I'm just saying,
I
because
wish
look,
I wish I would've known you before I made that request.
because God is going to go hold my beer. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, he's holding the 12 pack just laughing at me right now. He's like, "You got about 15 more years, boy."
So, so one of the best things you can do instead of saying "Give me strength,"
Make me weak.
well, there's always that. But one of the best things you can say is "Be my strength,"
Ah, ah.
because that means you're. It's one word. It is one word. Be my, be. Change it to be, or don't give me strength. Be my strength,
I
and
need you as my translator, Kim.
yeah, and it's because I've been there. I'm 52. I have been down that road numerous times, and then finally
Yeah.
one day it clicked. I'm like, "Well, shit, I'm asking for the wrong thing."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I found myself on my bed a couple months ago because I had just got laid off, and I was just like, I was desperate. I was really desperate. I'm like, if someone exists, if anything exists, so I'm like just freaking out, kind of like, please just help me through this. Like, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
Like, I don't practice prayer, so I don't know what to say. So I was really desperate, and I was saying those things on my bed, and then a couple weeks later, I got a job. So
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah,
yeah,
and that's what they want us to come to them for. When the archangels say, "Come to me, come to me," and I've got a list that I wrote down the archangels' names, and they all work together. They all work in tandem, but some of them have special jobs, and and knowing what those different jobs are, and I can go to Archangel Metatron and say, hey, I'm having some low energy right now. I need you to just, I'm feeling defeated, and I really need you to take this from me. And within a few minutes I feel better. I can feel it's gone.
mhm.
They're wanting us to rely on them for that.
Yeah. Life has been like, have you had where you felt lost in your life,
Yeah.
just completely lost, and you're like, something, something. I'm, I'm meant for more. I'm supposed to, like, when's something gonna happen? You know?
Okay.
Have you ever felt like that?
Yes. For a
Yeah.
lot of years. For a lot
Okay.
of years. Yeah. Well, we go through the dark night of the soul at some point in time in our lives. I know people that have gone through it in their teenage years. I went through my dark night of the soul. Actually, I've been on this journey for 10 years,
Mhm.
but started my dark night of the soul in 2022. I had most of my awakening in 2023, and 2024 has been tying up loose ends for me.
Mm.
And I am now in a shift of beginning a new life. Um,
A
but
new life
20,
sounds good to me.
yeah. And I'm going to tell you, allow yourself to go through that. It sounds to me like you may be in the dark night of the soul where you're probably
I'll verify
question.
that, yes.
Yes. Okay. Where you're just questioning things and you're like, why am I here? And if you feel as if you have a bigger purpose than what you are,
Yeah.
you have a bigger purpose than what you are. You could be an earth angel. You're probably a chosen one. And if you're having these feelings, um, just stick with it and just keep on going.
I'll tell you the feelings that I'm having. I wanna help people. I'm definitely an
Mhm,
empath. I wanna help people, and the current job that I'm at right now, or what I guess all the jobs I've had have not been satisfying. Like, I'm
mhm.
not helping people, right? I'm
Yeah,
helping business, but it's
yeah,
not fulfilling what I feel like I can do. Like, there's gotta be more purpose for me than this, and,
yeah.
I keep trying to put myself out there. I keep trying to find new opportunities to put my efforts forth to help people, but I feel like I keep hitting dead ends, and, like, I feel like I've just been in this continuous Groundhog Day over and over and over again, you know? You you know what I'm talking
I
about.
know exactly what you're talking
Okay.
about, and it sucks ass
Yeah, yeah,
completely.
yeah.
Yes, yes. Know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm patient though. I'm keeping strong. I'm like, I just deep down I know something is going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I just have to keep at it. So I'm gonna keep
Yes,
at it.
yes.
Yeah. So
Okay. Well, one of the best things that we can do, learn this. The best things we can do is when we come up against those times where we're like really, like seriously, is just going, hey, what am I supposed to learn from this?
mm,
And when you start asking those kinds of questions, if you get out of the mindset of um, why is this happening to me, and change it to this is happening for me, and then trying to have an understanding of why it's happening for you. I can go back in my life and look at those times where I would say, why is this happening to me? And look at that same situation now and go, ooh, I understand why that was happening for me, because
right.
it's gotten me to the path that I am on now. And the path that I'm on now is the path that I came here for.
Yes. Yeah. You need to make some sometimes you need to make some serious changes. And
Yeah.
if you keep doing the same thing, nothing's going to change.
Right.
Right? So, yeah, last month I made some serious changes with my life. Just I was drinking something called kratom tea. Have you ever heard of it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was drinking that stuff for about 7 years.
Wow.
And yeah, and I finally stopped last month. Just went cold turkey. I'm like, I need to start making some changes. Like, I'm pretty healthy when it comes to food and working out and all that stuff, but I didn't want to rely on something, and I was totally dependent on that tea, like one in the morning, one at night to go to sleep.
Mm.
So just last month, I cut it out of my life, and I didn't even notice, but I was waking up when I was drinking that tea at like 8:50 AM, and I was just feeling so damn tired, just so groggy, but I didn't know because that was my life for 7 years. I just thought that was
Mm.
normal. So once I cut that out, and you do have a withdrawal period, so I was, like,
Yeah.
sweating through it. I was jonesing, and it was about, like, 13 days, and I got through it,
Phew.
and yeah, now my sleep schedule is crazy. I wake up at 7:30 in the morning, wide awake, fully energized. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
just completely wide awake and ready to go, and I have a morning workout, drinking coffee, working, like, I just feel so much better without it, so
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to make some serious changes to my life to get to the next stage.
Yeah. And that's great because intuitively, that's what you need to do.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
I had to quit. I would drink beer on the weekends,
Mhm.
and never to where the point where I would get obliterated, but,
Right.
smoke weed and drink beer.
Mhm.
And, um, I had to give up the beer. I had to give up pork. Like, there's things that I don't eat beef that very often anymore. There's things that I had in my daily life, much like people were cut out of my life.
Yes. Yes, that's a
Food
big
were
one.
food, yeah, food and lifestyle and certain things that went into my body got cut out of my life.
Yep.
But people, I
Yes.
had I had I was in solitude for exactly 40 days. I had a meal prep business that I just made out of everything out of my house. I would go deliver it. I didn't have a whole lot of communication with people,
Mhm.
but I had people cut out of my life and people that had been my friends for years, so that it they I just haven't talked to them, and neither one of us have any need to talk to one another anymore. Your frequency changes. And the closer you get to the God frequency, the less people will be in your life, because there's not a whole lot of people vibrating at that frequency.
Important thing to say, yeah, the vibrations. You
Yeah.
totally know who. Okay, I'm gonna bring back to another story if you don't mind. Uh, so this is one of the times when I was on LSD, shocking. But me and Luke were we were walking to, go get some tacos after in Florida. And speaking of vibrations, so me and Luke sit down at this picnic table outside. It's outside across from a bar. And me and Luke are just vibing, enjoying each other's company, eating these delicious tacos. When all of a sudden, someone comes out of the bar and walks across the street and just yells a screech like, "What the fuck?" Like talking to some other guy, just
Uh-huh.
screaming. We felt such a shift in our
Yeah.
aura because of
Yeah.
that vibration, that alcoholic, drunk, belligerent vibration
Yeah.
crashed into our world. And we felt that. And we both just looked at each other, white faced, white knuckled, like, what was that?
Yeah.
Whoa, that was too much. And after I felt that, I was like, I don't think I ever want to fucking drink again. Just seeing what vibration that guy was on right there,
Yeah.
that's not okay with me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You look at it and you realize how ugly, how icky it is. And you're like, "Ooh, I don't want that. I don't want to be that."
Ye
And it and but that was supposed to happen for you to recognize that.
Yes. Yeah, and I
So
I just wanna go out there and say that not everyone that drinks is a bad person. I think that
no.
particular person was probably going through some shit and probably
Yes.
doesn't need to drink. Because I sir, if you're listening, I felt your energy, and you need to make some changes. It's probably your first time on life, alright? So just we'll
Well,
take it slow. Training wheels, baby.
I live in Nashville, so it's the bar capital of the world, I
For
think. I don't
sure,
know,
yeah.
but, yeah, and, the drunks down there, but they're all happy drunks,
Yes,
they're in
yes,
Nashville, they're happy drunks, but, I've been at places where, the fights start and,
yes.
it's usually a couple guys over some skirt, and
That's probably the most Nashville thing I've ever heard. Two drunk guys fighting over a skirt. You won't hear that up here. That's good.
So, and it but it's those things that take us out of, it's a poison. Alcohol is a toxin to your
Yeah,
body.
Yeah.
There's the natural things like mushrooms and weed and things like that. Those are natural, but when you start getting into the things that are toxins, and alcohol is a poison. That's why it makes you sick.
Yeah.
It's because your body is like going, okay, why are you putting this poison inside of me? And and so if it's a poison to your body, it shouldn't go in your body.
It's
And
interesting, isn't it, that it's a
yeah,
poison going into your body, but it gets so bad sometimes that you get sick when you don't have it at a certain
yeah,
point.
yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, it's like coffee.
Yeah.
Um, when I was writing my book for that 3-month period of time, I didn't have I had coffee cut out of my life because it was a stimulant,
Mhm.
and at this point in time, I wasn't able to channel so quickly like I can now. And so that's coffee actually was causing a barrier between me and connecting.
Mhm.
So spirit was like, nope, no more coffee. That was the roughest withdrawal I had
Oh,
ever gone
really?
through. I drink
Okay,
coffee now, but
how many
it
cups of
was,
coffee were you drinking back then?
oh my God, I was drinking coffee all day.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I was drinking. I mean, I used to do bodybuilding. I used to do competitive bikini competitions and things like that. And I was only allowed to have 1 cup of black coffee every morning, and that was
Right,
it.
right. Yeah, I've looked at those nutrition guides, I've seen it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
And then,
crazy.
but let me tell you what, when I wasn't in the competing mode, I'm like, give me my damn coffee,
Give me
and
my coffee.
yes, yes. So and now I have 2 cups in the morning, and then I'm good. Um,
I
I
could
do
only
most of my
deal with
channeling.
1.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if I have more than 2, I get sleepy and I get weird.
Oh,
It's
oh,
yeah, it's real strange. I
yeah.
can have 1 cup of medium roast coffee, and then I'm good for the entire day. Anything
Wow,
more, I'm talking about, like, even a sip more, I get real weird.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's
yeah,
wild. Yeah,
yeah. Well, dang, Kim, we did a hour and 5 minutes. I mean,
yeah,
I wanna say thank you for coming on and being an
yes,
open book and talking with me. I mean, this was revitalizing. I mean, you awoken something up in me. I feel good after
good,
talking to you, so thank you
good.
so much.
Yes, thank you for having me. And you know what? If you have any questions, you just want to chat, you've got my number. Give me a call.
You're
I'd be
sweet,
more than
thank you.
happy to help you. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm on this path, is to help people find their path, to find their healing.
Thank you for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely will. Thank you so much, and
Yeah.
tell people where they can buy your book and how they can find you.
Okay. So I am actually, if you go to TikTok, it's the underscore bridge 222. On Instagram, I'm the bridge 222. And then you can get my book if you go onto Amazon, hard copy and paperback. It's called The Bridge, We Are All One in Love, by Kim Warbritton. And on this Sunday, we're actually going to be launching the Kindle on Amazon. So you can
Nice.
get the Kindle as well.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Awesome,
Yeah.
and if people want a bodybuilding poster, where can they get that?
Hey, hey, I was shredded. That's all I gotta say is I was
I
shredded.
believe it. I believe it. That's awesome. You're a warrior.
So,
Kim, thank you so much for
ok
being here.
all right. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
All right.
Everyone at home, thanks for listening. Take care of yourself, all right? Spiritual awakening. All
Yes.
right. Find yourself. Be beautiful. Love everybody. Okay. Love is the answer. Take care.
Yep.